Hello there. Today we are going to talk about my past, present, and future of books. So recently I finished a book called The Curator by Owen King. It was not good. It is a book about cats that want to go in a door that they can't open themselves and they need someone to open that door. This book is disappointing in the fact that it had so many good ideas of how it could have been a really great story. And it would start to get interesting. So, with these little peaks, it would start to hold my interest. And then, the plane's taken off and then it would crash into the ground. You would have these characters, like, okay, here's these two twin sisters. They're super deranged and they do horrible things, enter into the story. You get a few little blurbs about them, and then they're gone from the story. Then you have the main character. I never cared about her, nor anyone in this story, but the main character's brother died, and she wants to, figure out what happened. I don't really care about the brother, because the story never led me to care about him. It was just like, okay, this happened, and he's gone, okay. But there were so many interesting ideas that, could have been cool with all, the cats that were in this story, too, but they just weren't. You had so many different elements and characters, and it was like, why were certain people doing certain things? How did certain relationships come to even be? Why did some of these people just never want to grow or learn from anything or stay stuck in a relationship that was kind of, to be honest, really crappy? None of the things really interlaced together well at all. It was like you had so many different ideas that could have just been books in their own right. And it was, as I said, plane take off, crash into ground, plane take off, crash into ground. The fact that I read the whole thing, it was pretty big. It was just meh. It wasn't terrible. I don't know. I would not recommend it. That is my thoughts on that one. So that was what I finished recently. Currently, I am reading a book called The Devil's Pocketbook by Ross Jeffrey. This book comes out May 23rd and is put out by Darklit Press, one of my favorite indie publishers. So far, I'm about halfway in. It is superb. It's a folk horror, and it's about this couple that has lost a child and just their grief and what they feel and what it's done to their relationship. They go to this seaside town just to get away and running into people, and the people that don't know that their daughter had died and having to tell them that and just be reminded of it over and over and over. They just need an escape and need a break, so they go to this town. While they're there, and they're down by the sea, floating in the waters, is this weird thing, this pod that they call a mermaid's purse or the devil's pocketbook. And within it, they find a child named Scylla or Scylla. I'm not sure how to say it. It is so creepy and weird, but you understand what the characters are going through by having this kid brought into their lives. But it's a horror book. Things are gonna go sideways, upside down, and into the ocean, maybe. I don't know. It's really great so far. I love the writing. The characters are fantastic. This is my first Ross Jeffrey book that I've read, and I discovered Ross Jeffrey because one day I was on YouTube and I was looking for other people who had read the book Ghoul in the Cape by Josh Malerman, which is my absolute favorite Josh Malerman book. He did a video about it. He also had another video where him and Josh talk about stuff, so I watched that, and then I ended up subscribing to his channel and following him on social media and da-da-da-da. And so, at some point I was like, well, this guy's an author. I need to read his book. Oh, also, Josh Malerman wrote the intro for this book as well. In the past, Josh has mentioned certain authors that he's read that he liked, and so a lot of times when other authors will be like, I really like this author, I definitely want to check him out, but I had actually found him through YouTube, so it's always interesting how you find different authors. I also recently started The Mountain and the Sea by Ray Naylor. It starts out, this guy, this incident happened in this area of where he had lived. He was a dive instructor, or would take people out to do different types of dives, and him and this one guy went to do this wreckage dive, and the visibility was crap. At some point he loses the guy when he's swimming. Guy ends up dying, and so this guy decides he's never gonna go on dives again. And what happened in this place, this archipelago, I believe it's called Kandao, something happened, something weird was going on in the waters. This company or whoever comes in and takes over this whole place and just evacuates everyone. So there's some weird, suspicious stuff happening. And I can actually read you the synopsis of it. Rumors begin to spread of a dangerous species of hyper-intelligent octopus that may have developed its own language and culture. The marine biologist, Dr. Ha Win, who spent her life researching cephalopod intelligence will do anything for the chance to study them. The transnational tech corporation, Dianima, has sealed off the remote Kandao archipelago, where the octopuses were discovered from the rest of the world. Dr. Wynn travels to the islands to join Dianima's team, a battle-scarred security agent and the world's first android. And I've gotten into about that part of the story. I'm like 20 pages in, so I'm not very far. But immediately, the writing gripped me. It's freaking interesting. I can't get over the disappointment of the Curator and how freaking... I don't know why I kept trudging through that book. It was miserable. I'm surprised I didn't DNF it. Why do I keep yelling about it? I don't know. Anyway, the octopuses hold the key to unprecedented breakthroughs in extra-human intelligence. The stakes are high. There are vast fortunes to be made by whoever can take advantage of the octopus's advancements. And as Dr. Wynn struggles to communicate with the newly discovered species, forces larger than Dianima close in to seize the octopuses for themselves. So it's gonna be crazy. And this cover is really pretty. I like it a lot. Looking forward to reading more of this one. Okay, and then I went to the library, as I want to do, and we got some other books that we're going to talk about. So I got this one, The Rune of All Wishes, which is a non-fiction book. And from time to time, I go and I peruse the non-fiction area, and hadn't read anything in a while that was non-fiction. I try to every couple months or so. This sounded interesting. I'm always interested in the history of witches and witch things. So let's tell you about it, eh? I'm not Canadian, I don't know why I said that. In Springfield, Massachusetts, 1651, peculiar things begin to happen. Precious food spoils, livestock ails, property vanishes, and people suffer convulsions as if possessed by demons. A woman seen wading through the swamp like a lost soul. Disturbing dreams and visions proliferate. Children sicken and die. As tensions rise, rumors are spread of witches and heretics, and the community becomes tangled in a web of distrust, resentment, and denunciation. The finger of suspicion soon falls on a young couple with two small children, the prickly brickmaker, Hugh Parsons, and his troubled wife, Mary. Drawing on rich, previously unexplored source material, Malcolm Gaskill vividly evokes a strange past, one where lives were steeped in the divine and the diabolic, in omens, curses, and enchantments. This sounds like fiction, but I guess it's got numbers on the side of it. Dewey Decimals. Yeah, it says the Rune of All Witches captures an entire society caught in agonized transition between superstition and enlightenment, tradition, and innovation. Sound interesting? Looking forward to getting into that one. So the next one I got, this is totally social media influenced. The Haunting of Alejandra. Seeing this on Bookstagram, seeing it on Booktube. A lot of booktubers that I follow and watch I've seen talking about this. So I also picked it up. Because who doesn't love a good book about being haunted? I sure do. Let's find out about it. Alejandra no longer knows who she is. To her husband, she is a wife. To her children, a mother. To her own adopted mother, she is a daughter. But they cannot see who Alejandra has become. A woman struggling with a darkness that threatens to consume her. Nor can they see what Alejandra sees. In times of despair, a ghostly vision appears to her. The apparition of a crying woman in a ragged white gown. When Alejandra visits a therapist, she begins exploring her family's history, starting with the biological mother she never knew. As she goes deeper into the lives of the woman and her family, she learns that heartbreak and tragedy are not the only things she has in common with her ancestors, because the crying woman was one of them. She is La Llorona. Oh! I feel like most people know the story of La Llorona, the crying woman with the looking for her children, or that drowns and eats them, I don't know. Something like that. The vengeful, murderous mother of Mexican legend. And she will not leave until Alejandra follows her mother, her grandmother, and all the women who came before her into darkness. But Alejandra has inherited more than just pain. She's inherited the strength and the courage of her foremothers. And she will have to summon everything they have given to her to banish La Llorona forever. Dude, that sounds so good. I didn't know what this was about at all. I just got it because we were talking about it. Now I'm even more excited. Okay, and another book I picked up because I wanted to read it for a while. And I'm a big fan of stuff that has to do with water environments, horror that's in the water, adventures on the sea, whatever. And I've been really loving this author so far, what I've read. Darcy Coates from Below. This will be the third Darcy Coates book that I've read, and I'm very excited to read it. I saw this over on Typical Books channel, and it sounded pretty good, so I definitely wanted to check it out. So let's have some story time and tell you what it's about. Years ago, during a routine voyage, the SS Arcadia vanished without a trace. Though a strange garbled emergency message was broadcast, neither the ship nor any of its crew would ever be found. 60 years later, its wreck has finally been discovered, more than 300 miles from its intended course. A silent graveyard deep beneath the ocean's surface, eagerly waiting for the first sign of life. Cove and her dive team have been granted permission to explore the Arcadia's rusting hull. Their purpose is straightforward: examine the wreck, film everything, and if possible, uncover how and why the supposedly unsinkable ship vanished. See, this is a problem. People need to stop claiming that their ships are unsinkable. Titanic? That was unsinkable too, apparently. Whatever. Anyway, but the Arcadia has not yet had its fill of death, and something dark and hungry watches from below, with limited oxygen and the ship slowly closing in around them. Cove and her team will have to fight their way free of the unspeakable horror now desperate to claim them. What I'm trying to do is read so many terrifying books about the ocean that I never swim in the ocean again. That's not what I'm trying to do, because I do love swimming and I like to swim in the ocean, but the more I read about this stuff, the more it freaks me out. And I'm so excited because Darcy Coates is awesome. Every book that I've read of her so far, it's like so addictive. The writing is so addictive that you like can't put it down. Sorry for yelling. I get excited about this stuff. Super stoked for that. If you're a fan of videos where I talk about multiple things that I'm reading, next video coming up will be another video about that. So stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button. Come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.